Welcome to the Law and Crime Network. I am Michael Bryant. It is good to have you here on a Friday. We are following the civil trial against Johns Hopkins All Children's Hospital. Allegations of false imprisonment, allegations of battery. This is a suit filed by the family of a mother who died by suicide after being accused of child abuse. The Kowalski family, they sued the hospital in 2018 after their daughter Maya was admitted there in 2016 due to a flare-up of this very rare neuropathic condition. It is a pain syndrome, and she had been treated for this condition, but had basically a relapse of sorts. Part of this treatment was ketamine infusion, very unorthodox, and it was done in Mexico because not allowed here in the United States. So she's under medical supervision to treat that condition. She has a flare-up. She goes to the hospital. Employees twice reported Maya's mom, Beata Kowalski, for child abuse. So that triggered all number of events in this case that, according to the plaintiffs, led to Ms. Kowalski taking her life. And we'll see Maya sitting there at the plaintiff's table along with her dad, along with her brother Kyle. During the abuse investigation, Maya was not allowed to leave the hospital. Her mom not allowed to visit her for 87 days. No contact, zero. And so the plaintiffs say that she committed suicide as a result. And by the way, no evidence of child abuse ever surfaced. The family is the subject of this Netflix documentary, Take Care Maya, which were some of the final words in an email from mom to daughter. Tremendous documentary. If you get a chance, take a look at that. It will give you a very good foundation for where we are today in this case. We're going to pop into court now and take a listen to testimony from Brandon Woodward. He is the neighbor of the Kowalski family.
Kyle, Jack, Beata, or whatever, I can't specifically state.
Well, was there any particular event where you recall seeing, either on a holiday or just a regular weekend event or something, where you saw something that indicated to you just how bad it was?
Yes. We had a New Year's party with a couple of those houses with a couple of neighbors that were previously mentioned we're really tight with. So the next door neighbor to Jack had just a handful of couples over for New Year's Eve, and at midnight when the bell dropped, Beata just broke down, completely broke down.
Describe it for us a little bit. What was she doing, and then how did it come about?
You know, the ball drops, you usually kiss your spouse or say Happy New Year, and she lost it. So just started crying. All the others trying to console her.
Mm-hmm. And so that was not such a good New Year's Eve. Now, Kyle, as long as you have known him, has he been a bodybuilder type or more on the thin side?
Always.
Good. And there was an allegation about malnourishment or some idea that these children were not being properly fed or kept. Can you tell?
To the commentary by the attorney.
Sustained.
Tell the jury about how Jack and Beata took care of these kids in terms of feeding them, taking care of them, making sure they had exercise, making sure they were always provided for.
Well, when we go to the bus stop in the mornings, on the walk back, my kid would always run into Jack's house because he had always had good snacks in the cupboard, and he'd always have extras to share. So the cupboard was always fully loaded. So my kids would steal little snacks from Kyle, and I guess Maya, if she ate them too. But Kyle was always outside. I think he's still outside all the time. Other boys in the neighborhood, they play football, baseball together, but always doing something physical. And when they were little, I actually remember, I'd be in Jack's driveway talking to him, and they'd be playing football and picking teams. And I distinctly remember kids always wanting Kyle on their team because he was one of the better ones. You'd win if you had Kyle on your team.
Now, do you remember the night that Beata died?
Yes.
Was there any event that reminds you of that night?
So my youngest daughter's birthday is December 28th. Kids are out of school. They go out of town for Christmas and New Year's, so we always have to have her birthday party in January. So we have her birthday in January when there's actual kids that can come. We had neighbor, the same group of friends from neighbors come over, and Jack and Kyle came that night, but Beata did not.
Okay. Anybody asking where she was, or any excuses or anything? Or just...
Yeah, we asked, and didn't feel good or headache, and she sent a gift. She went out and bought a gift for my daughter and sent a gift.
Okay. And what was the next thing you knew or saw or heard about Beata?
Well, on Sunday, that was a Saturday night. Sunday mornings, I wake up, go out and get breakfast for my wife and kids early, and on the drive back in, when I left, everything was normal. When I drove back into the neighborhood, there was, 10, 12, 15 police cars at Jack's house with EMTs.
Did you go in?
I did not go in the house.
Okay.
Jack was outside in the driveway.
Did you see Jack?
Yes.
What was his condition?
Distraught, crying.
All right. How long were the police cars there? Do you recall? A long time.
Hours, many hours. I got out, gave him a hug, told him if he needed anything, call me, and then
Did you see Kyle?
I did not see Kyle.
He had gone by that point, or been taken, or?
I'm not sure. I wasn't sure if he was in the house or if he left.
Now, we've gone over the reunion party, but can you tell us a little bit about what it's been like for Jack first, since, we'll strike that. Did you see Jack very much immediately after, in the period immediately after Beata passed?
Yes, still saw him a bunch.
Tell us about that.
It was more just trying to console a friend. You don't want to intrude, but you want them, you want the family to know you're there.
Yeah. And was he striking? Have you noticed any changes in Jack afterwards in terms of his, not so much about taking care of the kids, but just he himself and his enjoyment of life or his activities?
I mean, yeah, the whole family.
Tell us about it.
Well, I don't know how to put that into words. Just completely life changing. Just things are different. The whole family's just great, super caring family. But something just happened where it's just different now. They're still great people, but
And so you're still good friends.
yes,
And you're still will have some of his wine.
still do.
And
Still
I
enjoy it.
understand there's controversy about his wine, though.
I think it's just with you.
I'm the only one that doesn't like
Yes.
Jack's wine, so that's better. In any event, to this day, though, is there still a change in Jack from what you knew before?
Yes, but like I said, it's difficult to put into words. If you've ever watched, the family's changed.
And do you see Maya or Kyle as much anymore?
I see Kyle often when he's washing his boat after he goes fishing. So he's still outside, but he's not playing football in the front yard anymore.
Okay.
Maya
activities
babysits
are
our
a little
kids. She's been doing that for a couple of years.
Okay. And does Jack come around as much on the social scene, or is he
Yeah, we still hang out a lot.
try to keep him going?
Yep.
You're in us.
morning, sir.
Morning.
I just have a few questions. It sounds like you've known the Kowalskis for a long time, and you're a really good, supportive friend, or at least you try to be. Is that fair?
Yes.
Okay. I just want to draw your attention back to the July 3rd, 2015 incident at the house that you talked about.
Okay.
Okay. We're on the same page? Okay.
Yes.
My understanding from what you've said is that you didn't actually see anything happen to Maya, correct?
Correct.
And in fact, at the time you heard this noise you described, you didn't even know it was Maya. Is that fair?
When I first walked in the house, yes.
When you heard, right, when you actually heard the noise that you described, you didn't know that it was Maya. Is that correct?
No, I after about 10 seconds quickly put it together that it was Maya. When
Oh,
I
you
first
did?
walked in the house, I just thought it was some random kid just making some god-awful noise.
Oh, I must have misheard. I thought you said you figured it was one of Jack's kids, but I didn't know that you had determined that it was Maya.
But whether it was within 10 seconds or 30 seconds or yes, but the other parents and adults there, as they were filtering out, yes, it was very quickly realizing it was Maya.
Okay, all right. But as far as what you know, you didn't know of anything physical that had occurred to cause that noise, correct? And as far as it could have been a panic attack for all you know from what you've heard. Is that fair?
I wouldn't classify it that way, but
Okay.
I'd say no.
Can we agree that you don't know what caused
Absolutely.
her to have that,
Yes.
to make that noise? Is
Yes.
that fair?
Yes.
Okay, all right. I want to focus on the time frame. So just to put us on the same page, Maya's admission to the Johns Hopkins All Children's was October of 2016.
Okay.
Okay? My understanding is that you were aware that they had gone for some treatment back in November of 2015?
I don't remember the exact timelines
Okay.
and dates, but
But do you remember them going somewhere for treatment?
yes.
And I think I heard you say you figured it was going to be one and done. They were going to do that treatment, and then that was going to take care of everything.
I think it was after the fact when we saw her, what was to me being perceived as much better than before she went. I just thought, oh, this is a big, expensive one and done treatment, and this helps clear up whatever it was.
Okay. All right. So are you aware of all of the treatment that she was getting between, let's say, December of 2015 and October of 2016?
Very minimally, so not in detail, no. Like, what I can really speak to is strength in her legs, because I just distinctly remember her crawling around, using her arms to get around. Something about legs, putting pressure on legs or using legs either hurt, so there was this avoidance of using legs.
Okay. So is it correct, though, that she never walked again between December of 2015 and entering into Johns Hopkins?
I don't recall.
You don't recall one way or the
I
other?
don't recall one way or the other.
Okay. Do you have any knowledge, sir, about what Maya's condition was, or on the day before she went into Johns Hopkins Hospital?
No, I don't recall specifically.
Now, since Maya's been discharged and been home and leading up to today, you certainly have noticed that Maya's been able to participate in ice skating. Are you aware of that?
Yes.
Okay. And other activities, correct?
I knew she did ice skating.
Is that the only thing you're aware of?
Yes.
Okay. Are you aware of how good she's doing in school?
Everybody's aware of that.
Okay. All right. 1 minute, please.
But you, so far, I haven't had any contact.
Hold on a second, Mr.
I'm sorry, are we done?
No further questions.
Sorry.
Mr. Anderson?
No questions.
Sure, you can go ahead.
Okay, that's what happens when you have kind of a phalanx of defense attorneys. You got to huddle and figure out if we've got everything covered or not. Bob Hillo is still here with me. He's a trial attorney. He is on set. Good to have him along. And joining us, Catherine Lizardo in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, a trial attorney there. And always good to have you, Catherine. Let me focus on you and totally ignore Bob for just a moment here. So you have this cross which effectively makes it look like, hey, she looks okay to me. You know, Maya looks like she's ice skating. And I do believe that how good she looks and how healthy and normal she looks as a 17-year-old. It's important that the plaintiffs point out that's now, not then. But for the cross to sort of make that like a point for them, I don't like that. What do you think?
I did not like it myself too. I thought that came across as insensitive with the defense. And let me back up. I have a background as a personal injury attorney, and I've been a defense attorney and a plaintiff's attorney. And with a defense like that, the defense attorneys have to be very careful with this high emotional case, specifically with the CRPS. CRPS is a very rare condition, like you mentioned, that is a lot of people do not know about it, and a lot of medical professionals do not understand it. I think it would be helpful for the plaintiffs to also inform the jury what CRPS is, and just for our viewers to give them kind of like a baseline or a base point is the McGill pain scale, which I anticipate we're going to hear from experts. They consider the pain of CRPS the highest pain you can experience, and it's even more painful than childbirth and getting your fingers amputated. Think about that for a 9-year-old experiencing that constantly, and there is no cure, unfortunately. So saying that, oh, she can walk now, she should be okay.
Yeah,
insensitive.
That's painfully graphic to imagine that. And the problem has been, and it was the case with Maya as well, that she was being told it was, it's in your head, it's anxiety, because there are no objective findings. It's all subjective, so it makes the diagnosis so much trickier. Okay, I'm going to continue to ignore Bob. We're going to take a quick break. When we come right back, we'll have more out of the Johns Hopkins case in Florida. Stay where you are.